Hello, my name is Tseldora, and I'm here to help you obtain both the Illusory Ring of the Exalted and the Illusory Ring of the Conqueror. Now, we'll talk about both of them in due time, but just so you know, the Illusory Ring of the Conqueror, which is the one you get through no deaths, it's basically all of this video, since it's the more complicated one and the one I have more tips for. Good news though is that the other ring, the Illusory Ring of the Exalted, is actually quite easy, and it's not that demanding. In fact, it will be good practice, so I advise that you go for that one first. We will be getting both rings on separate characters, so you will need someone you trust to transfer a ring from one character to another. I recommend that you make a character that you wish to play with both rings as the one you'll be doing the no bonfire resting run with, since it's pretty much impossible to fail that run unless you of course rest at a bonfire accidentally, which you wouldn't believe the amount of times has happened. I've read of many people resting at bonfires accidentally through the middle of the game or well into the challenge. So my advice to this and how I did it is basically treat bonfires as if they were another enemy. Never be relaxed about them. You are seeing footage of me playing PvP with both rings on. It's a lot of fun. And also this is footage of me doing the no bonfire rest run. And I'm about to die here with both of them nearly dead. This was a bummer. Anyway, a few considerations that you have to take into account when doing a no bonfire run. You cannot attune spells. You cannot burn ascetics, which we will be doing in our no death run, so that's why both runs are not compatible the way I propose them. You cannot use the item box, and you cannot improve your Estus, so you must make sure to chuck on it a few times whenever you're battling bosses, because it will not heal you as much as you're used to. Some other things, there are a couple of times where you will have to be careful about when you rest and when you don't rest at a bonfire. When you're making your way through the shaded woods, you want to activate the bonfire that I'm showing you right now, and instead skip the one that you will find later at the Fork Road of Swords. That is because going through the way to the shaded ruins, the little foggy forest, is arguably easier than the way towards Drangleic Castle. So basically you'll just have a better checkpoint next time you come to this area. Be careful when you make it through this little, if you want to run through it, it's a little nasty sometimes, but we'll get more info on that on our proper walkthrough for this area later. Another area which you must be careful is once you get to Drangleic Castle itself. Skip the first bonfire, which you will use to defeat the final boss and rest there and have as many tries as you want, and instead go to the bonfire that I showed you. Also, do be careful. If you fall down here and activate the bonfire, you will be, kind of stuck. And that's all for this really short guide. Now the real guide to the real challenge of this video begins. So I hope you stay tuned and make it through the end. Good luck. Alright, let's begin. You want to run like speedrunners do. That is, run until your stamina is almost depleted and then let it regenerate so that there's no penalty. At the beginning we're going to do things real quick. As you can see, I'm not spending a lot of time making my character very pretty, because there's a good chance that I will die and have to do all this process again. So I just made something really quick, and I advise you do the same. Don't spend too much time on this, or otherwise if you do die it will be more painful. We want to get the Estus shard and these homeward bones. It's really important that you get these, otherwise you'll have to buy them from the cat. Get the Estus and rest at the bonfire. We need the shield. Open up this door, and don't forget to take the knife here, and then do a lead jump like I'm doing here, just to save you 2 seconds. Lit up this bonfire. You don't have to consume the souls now. Also, I killed this guy here because I felt pretty confident, but you don't have to do it now. Do remember to do it later if you don't do this right now. Roll past this guy and enter the fog gates, slight to the little bit to the right from the center. Now count the steps of the Dragon Rider, and when he steps for the 6th time, run, roll past, and roll to his back. And when he turns around, he will fall. It's very easy, and you can try again if you die. It doesn't take. It takes a couple minutes. As you can see, I'm using the dagger that I got in the sewer to stun lock Lycia and just throw her off the cliff. Restart the area and get her stuff. That is the rotunda and all of her what is it called, the catalyst, the bell. As you can see, when you reload the area, you'll get it. I'm using the dust here because I already got it, but if you don't, you can do that later. And as you can see, I'm leveling up. All priorities are usually health, endurance, and adaptability. Get to 20 health as soon as you can, as I did here. Anyway, advance to this area, lit up all these bonfires. This bonfire here, oh, that's important. You need to get this parry right. That bonfire is important because you might not want to kill the Hag Knight like I did here, and these 3,000 souls might be useful. Anyway, you can run past all of these guys, and although you probably get hit once here, there's nothing really stopping you from running through it. Open up this door, lit up this bonfire, and you need to buy a few things from Melentia. Buy at least 3 of these, at least. A couple of these are never too bad, and of course we need the Lenigras key, and also buy 1 club. Get the witching arms. Open up this. Be careful. I'll make sure you've leveled up your health. Anyway, drop from here, and do be very careful because there's a chance that you might get shot mid-air. That's happened to me, and it will interrupt your jumping and make you fall. So do that after he shoots an arrow. Anyway, get the item and the key from Kale and teleport back. This is something I forgot to do, and I actually did it later. So you do this right now. This is a very risky moment, but it's very early, so you can do this right after the Dragon Rider. As you can see, I'm just going through this bridge and then taking the leap, and I didn't buy enough Homer bones after I used all of them, so I was in quite the predicament. As you can see, I had no bones, and of course I had no way to go back, so I had to jump and then just kind of lure them here so I could run back. It was very, very dangerous, so that's a good reason. Remember to get your Homer bones. Anyway, break up this door, and oh yeah, make sure you kill this guy. You can get a hand axe and the shield here, but what we're looking after here is the S2 shard, and also the divine blessing down here. You now have Kale's key, so you should come down here and get the other S2 shard. And now you should have, if I'm not mistaken, like 3 of them. Also take this at the top floor, and this at Maudlin's shop. So now you should have 4 or 5 shards, depending if you got the one that I didn't mention. Anyway, you should be able to buy a mace and reinforce it. And that's all you need for now. Do get this bow as well. Next thing we're gonna get is these green blossoms are always useful. You should have gotten the Pharaoh's Lockstone from the Majula mansion. So we're gonna get the Chloranthy ring, a slab, and also the large titanite shard that you can find in this room. Just attack the door and the hollows will come out. Surprise. And here's the and the life ring. I had forgotten. You can get these souls, but this is not really important. What is important though is this light crossbow. I think it can serve as well, but especially if you need to battle the Covetous demon, which I didn't really do in this playthrough, and you'll see why later. Anyway, break this card because we're coming for the aromatic goose. As you can see, you can backstab or just take by surprise most of the enemies in this area when you come from behind. You just backstab the one in the middle and take care of the other two. You should have enough health to endure a few hits. And there's the aromatic goose we'll be using later, and also the sorcerer's staff and some consumables. As you can see, I just teleported back, and also tile to Melentia so that she spawns back in Majula. I blew this up so that it was easier to kill this guy. It's very easy to run past him though, so it might be good practice for later. Get the life gem and the homeward bone here. Kill this guy so you can get this consumable. It will be useful later. Run the running attacks on the mace. Get the lizards pretty well, and you can follow up with another one. All of this is two-handed, so you should have no problem killing any of these. Anyway, get to the last giant, and this is the first boss, so I'm gonna slow down a little and tell you what I think is the best way to kill it. There's a couple times where you can go absolutely crazy on it, and that's at the very beginning when he has a scripted set of attacks, and then when his HP reaches 50%, like right now, you can just let your stamina regenerate and start hitting it. So you can see with an upgraded weapon, it takes no time. Other than those two moments, what you want to do against this boss is basically hit one leg, and whenever he lifts it up, move on to the other. You can go directly to the pursuer after this if you're confident, or if not, you can just wait and see how I level up after this. But anyway, it shouldn't be very difficult. My strategy for this is to learn the time to parry, but as you can see, even after you learn it, you can still fail. It's very easy to just roll out of his attacks right around this area and then try to use these crossbow things. But if he breaks them, you'll have to leave the game. That's all really. The third one didn't hit, so I had to do it twice. As you can see, it's possible to both do it after parrying him and if just running after his attack. Get the Drangleic Set and the Drangleic Shield, which is important. Teleport to the Lost Bastille and get the large Titanite shot from here. Make sure you use this vantage point to take care of these enemies. Drop this barrel and don't move from this position and you won't get hurt. Give this guy a few seconds because he's invincible for a while. Open up this door. Make sure you kill the remaining dogs. Sometimes one of them survives. And get the Serpent Ring and the Lost Bastille key. If you two-hand your mace, these guys will be stunned with every hit. So it's just a matter of hitting until your stamina is gone and then dodging ones. Talk to Lucagil and get the other large Titanite shard. You can drop from the inside, because if you drop to the outside, you gotta be careful with that hole. Do be careful around here. This guy, don't attack immediately. Instead, bait him so that he doesn't blow up the barrel. And once he's in a safe position, kill him. I always hold up my shield. I don't know why. If it doesn't blow up, you should have at least one of these. And as you can see, it can save your life. Lit up the bonfire and lit up your torch. Lit this little thing up and rest so that you can access all of the chests. Anyway, you should now have plenty of upgrade materials to get to, what is it, +5 I believe. And as you can see, I'm leveling up my strength to at least 18, and also I need 12 dex. Apart from that, I'm giving everything else to my health. And now's the time when I'm coming down here. Those dark torches will help with Nashandra, so do keep them. And as you can see, I'm using all this time to consume souls. I'm consuming boss souls as well during this run, which I advise you to do, just to be safe. Unless you're of course planning to make this character that you will use later. Get the dark pine resins that you can find in this little hut, and then keep going upwards. You will eventually find the torch, and from this point you can actually activate the bell to bring the boat to the dog. Anyway, lit up the torch so that these enemies aren't very dangerous at all. But do be careful, because once you kill them, the ones that are waiting for you inside will not be susceptible to the effects of the torch, or at least they're not as consistently affected by it. Anyway, we're going upstairs so that we can talk to Goblin, and also take the great sword if you want to use it. I will not be using it, but it might be your thing. Also, do ignore the wooden chest at the right. It's got a useless item for this run, the silver talisman, and it's got a trap, and do be careful with that. Anyway, drop from this to save you some time and get to this room. You want to backstab this guy and kind of stay away from the other one, lest you get poisoned like he usually does. Once he's down, break this wall here and kill this lizard. Get its loot and both of these chests, and you should get the Royal Soldier's ring and an S2 shard. Anyway, use your torch again so that you can deal with these guys. There's a couple of these. And make sure you shoot these guys with your arrows, otherwise they'll follow you into the ship, and if I know anything about the Varangian warriors, is that they can combo you to death, and they're very dangerous. Anyway, you want to equip both your club and your mace and power stance them. I also used the buff here, but you'll see that it's not really necessary. We'll be doing this with a couple of bosses, and it really makes it very easy. Basically, I'm just going to bait an attack and roll away from it. Well, not this particular time, but that's the idea. And whenever I am in danger or I wish to heal, I'll just put the pillar in the middle of the room between the boss and me. And whenever there's an opening, I just do this, as you can see, and it takes away quite a chunk of its health. You should have the Drangleic set, so your defense should be pretty good. You will not get killed in a couple hits only. Do be careful with the nasty attacks like that one though. And remember to switch out to the silver ring whenever you can. Either the regular silver ring or the +1 if you were already given it by Melentia. Anyway, get that soul and get at the bonfire, hit this guy and get this amazing plunge attack on him like I did. Yep. Get the S2 shard here. And do get that Brave Knight soul that I forgot to showcase. The one you drop before after the High Knight. Anyway, as you can see, I'm upgrading the club as well, and giving out both S2 shards that we got. You can level up some too. Anyway, we're going for the 3 rune sentinels, and as you can see, I'm not bothering to deal with any of these guys. I'm just getting the live gem here. We will generally not be bringing NPCs to easy boss fights. Now this guy you can deal however you want, since there's no pressure, but it's just really easy to power stance these clubs, and as you can see, just play the drums with them. Whenever he's at very low health, oh, this is what happened to me. I dropped and I didn't want to take any risk. I remember now. I just left the game and restarted. Yeah, whenever he's in low health, bait him into falling down and shoot an arrow to one of his, well, not one of his, you want to shoot at the one you saw me do, and then you can finish him off, and this way you'll just make sure that this guy comes way before the third one, and you'll have plenty of time to finish him off, which you should do anyway, but just to make things safer. And as you can see with the buff on my weapon, it only took 3 Altus, 1 power stance. If you stand in this little corner, you will not get hit by them, so it's very convenient, and it gives you the chance to stun lock them. Anyway, make sure that your main weapon is able to kill these guys with 1 hit. It should, even if you haven't upgraded it. And take this rush water from the chest. Watch out you don't get killed by this exploding guy. And rest at this bonfire. As you can see, I now have enough vitality to equip the chest, and this chest I'll be upgrading with Twinkling Titanite, which is an upgrading material I had nothing to do with. So that's where our Twinkling Titanites will go. As you can see, I've given myself 30 health or Vigor. I believe Vigor and Vitality are switched around. I keep my vitality pretty down, and it won't go much higher than that. And basically you want to get 20 health as soon as possible. Also, I didn't do this, I had to do this much later, but you should do it now. Kill Mocklin now, and equip all of his clothes except for the Drangleic mail. Anyway, proceed through the Lost Bastille and kill these guys. Make sure you start attacking them before they have a chance to get up. And if you don't have a chance to attack them, just wait until they kind of roar after they jump, and then roll. With the adaptability that you should have right now, it should be very easy. That's your sound cue for knowing when to roll, whenever they scream. Say hello to the gargoyle, and rest of the bonfire. Oh, it's also very important that you take this, what is it called, ascetic down here. It's very easy, you just need to roll like I did, and then just teleport back, so that you don't take any risk. Anyway, you have a good chance of landing a plunge attack on this guy. You can also just drop on the elevator like you'll see me do, and here I would have died if I hadn't quit my PlayStation quick enough. That is something you should be always ready to do in cases like this. I quit my console at the very moment I was dying because I was having none of that. Make sure you send up the elevator back again. This is important, so step on it as you advance. Now you want to roll through the attacks of the enhanced undead and get the sublime bone dust, and then just simply run through this area, ignoring every enemy. Do take the left and not the right, so that you don't get stuck with that exploded undead. And you can ignore all of this and simply drop down, activate this, and even though it's a dire situation, you'll have just enough time to run away from everyone. Not this time. Anyway, get the life gem and get ready to battle the Lost Sinner. This will be the battle that we'll have to know the best through the entire game, because it's the one we'll do a few times to get past the 1 million soul memory. As you can tell, I'm using the Drangleic shield, which blocks, I believe, every single one of her attacks at 100%, and I just strafe right, and whenever she attacks and I see an opening, I use that opening to either attack or heal if I have the need. Usually whenever you see her jacket kind of lift up so that you can see her white underwear, that's the time where you want to attack or heal, like now. Don't get too greedy, because sometimes she will just avoid it and you'll be wasting stamina, but as you can see, it's relatively easy. And if you feel like you're down on stamina, you can simply roll through her attacks, which takes a little more skill, but it's not very difficult once you get used to it. Besides, you should have enough adaptability to do it safely. See that now is a good time. And she's done. Now you should switch to your covetous silver serpent ring, and switch your Drangleic armor to the Tseldora chest piece, and that's what you will do for the rest of these battles. I didn't do it yet, and that's why it took me a little more than it should take you to reach 1 million. As you can see, I'm spending money on gems so that she gives me the silver serpent ring +1, which I should have really gotten before, so don't make this mistake. For the next fights, I need more stamina to withstand her hits better. I also gave myself more health and used the bone dust that we collected. And now it's time to ascetic this bonfire and face her again. These guys begin to be very dangerous, so what you want to do is simply drop from here and keep your shield up to avoid getting shot in the head. It's very important that you send this thing back up again to save you some trouble and some time, and simply run through this. Once you get to this very spot, roll like you just saw me do, because sometimes these enhanced undead kind of jump at you very quickly. Just roll and you should be good. And even if it doesn't seem like it, you can completely run past everything. And now we face the Lost Sinner again. It's the first. It's the same thing as the first, except she will be less forgiving and she will drain more stamina. So you have to be a little more conservative and patient. If you pay attention, you'll realize that I don't get hit. I think I don't get hit at all in this fight or a couple of the next ones. Simply because I am very careful, and I know that playing the Lost Sinner a few times can save you a lot of time. So it's just better if you don't let things go our way and just wait and wait and wait until you see a very clear chance like this one. And don't attack twice if you're not very confident on it, like I was here. Anyway, when she's thrown to low health, you will see that she covers her head with both of her hands. At this time you do not want to attack her because she will parry you. Remember to switch to your soul enhancing here, which I didn't quite have here. And now it's just time to consume both her soul and the soul from the old witch that she drops in New Game Plus or Bonfire Intensity 2. As you can see, I've already reached 50 health, and that's as far as we will take health, because after that diminishing returns kick in and it's not really useful. It would be wiser to invest in vitality and get heavier armor. And back again, we're ascetic this area. Drop down, careful, and send it back again. And I'm just gonna run through this area and get ready again. And I have no buffs at this point, but it's just a matter of time. I think I didn't get hit once during this fight, but I could be wrong. Oh, that one. Well, that's a very nasty damage, but it's very survivable. And remember to switch. What else was I leveling up here? Oh, endurance. Yes, I did not want to get my guard broken again because I ran out of it. And vitality is a fine thing to level up as well. And I was also giving myself a couple of attunement slots as a foreshadowing of what will come next, but you will see. You can wait for that too if you want. We do not have any more ascetics, and so we are going on a little adventure to get them. It was at this point that I got the Tseldora Set, which I should have done before. So that's why you see me use the cap and the trousers now. But I should have been wearing it from the very beginning. So basically we're going to kill the skeleton lords, and that will open us the way to Cloan, and she'll sell us the ascetic that we need. Do be careful with these guys, as they can take you off guard. But you should be a very high level, so unless they push you off the cliff, you should have no trouble. Anyway, get to this lever room and wait for the guy to drop. Pull it and simply wait inside. It's really, you're safe from arrows here, so wait inside 10-15 seconds until it's safe to come out. You can wait a little more than I did. But anyway, you have upgraded armor. Well, not very upgraded, but you've got good armor and lots of health, so these guys shouldn't really kill you unless something goes terribly wrong. Once you're past this bridge, it's time to deal with the guys that have followed you. As you can see, I'm a little clumsy, but I kill them anyway. Get to the cave and get the Titanite shard that you can find alongside the magic mace, and just kill the skeletons to clear the way. They should die in one hit because they're weak to the type of damage, the blunt type of damage that the mace deals. Now careful around these areas, as you can be shot in the head and comboed and thrown off the cliffs in many different ways. Just simply play careful. You don't need to get inside for the key, as we will not be going back. And as soon as she invades, just keep running and you'll make it through. You can kill her if you wish, but I'd simply stun locking him with 200 at once, but it's a risk I didn't really feel like taking. Anyway, you want to kill these guys in a particular order. First is halberd, then is scythe, and then it's staff. That is, right is the first enemy that you want to take. Once you kill the first one, simply lap around to distract the other two, and come back to the spot where you killed them, and around it should spawn the first 4 enemies, which should really die with one hit of your mace, as you can tell. I'm healing up, and then I'm moving on to the second enemy, which is the scythe. And once again I'm simply running around and distracting until the 4-1 spawns. Once you kill the guy with the staff, you will get the bone wheel skeletons. Do make sure you kill them as fast as possible, because even though they're nothing like they used to be, they're still dangerous if they gang up on you. Anyway, we got the bonfire aesthetic from Cloan, which is pretty much everything we needed, but you can come down here for a few goodies and to get Navlon as well. There's a Titanite chunk here, which is very useful. Take it. And I think there's also poison knives down what I just walked past, and you can get those too. Anyway, don't walk past this area without killing this skeleton. Now you can drop here to get the fire seed and what is it, a divine blessing, if I recall correctly. Go back up and take the fragrant branch and take the contents of the wooden chest before you speak to Gavlin. Feel free to sell everything you've got that isn't useful to him, and also stock up on the poison arrows. Now that you've talked to him a second time, he'll finally show up in the Doors of Fires, and then he'll sell us infinite poison arrows, which will be very useful. And I was kind of lazy, so I just used a bone to go back, and since I had run out of them, I bought a few from Shalquar. And also this ring, but I don't really think that I have any use for it, really. So now for the final confrontation with the Lost Sinner. Do as always, you don't have to send up the elevator this time, but do it just in case. And once again, it's just a test of patience. Endure her hits and hit when you have a window. And make sure you don't get hit a couple times, because her hits will just burn through your stamina right now. As you can tell, it takes about 50% of it, and it's always better to roll, and I'm sure that by the 4th time you'll get used to it. And this is the equipment changes that I advise you to make every time you defeat her. Armor from Drangleic to Tseldora, and also the ring. And now I'll use her souls and realize that I have not quite enough. I'm 50,000 away. You should be only one boss battle away from it, but I'll have to kill 2, but it's all part of the plan, so you will see. Anyway, I didn't level up for some reason, and instead came to this old Aquelarre. Make sure you kill those 2 guys first, and you know, have all the poison items in your slot so that you don't get poisoned and get your health down or anything. Anyway, get the S2 shard from this room, and now that you've freed Rosabeth, buy a couple of these bars. They'll be useful in some of the bosses. And of course the fire seeds, which you should have a few of them by now. Reinforce all you can, and if you haven't got any attunement slot, whenever you level up now, give yourself at least a couple. And here I am giving her lots of equipment so that she can be a properly dressed woman. Do be careful when you run past this area, because it's relatively easy to get stuck between those 2 guys that run at you, and that can go wrong really quickly. Just be careful and do a little spin. Rest at this bonfire, and off we go. You want to take a left and simply hug the edge of the forest, and you'll eventually find a path that goes up, and you'll meet Bengal. Instead of talking him to straight away, just go and take this fire seat behind him, and now just talk to him until he gives you his armor if you want, and buy a couple of resins. Also take this soul right here. And now we're going back to the beginning, and instead of going left, you want to go right. You will go past the corpse, past this little chest there that we didn't get to see. Be careful with that fall, but if you keep walking past it, you'll get to this little elevator area and the chest with the clothing ring +1. And after you get that, simply drop down as you've just seen me do, and keep hugging the right of it, and you'll be eventually out of the forest without much trouble. Go upstairs to get this. Also get the chunk and the petrified dragon bone, although we don't really have any use for that in this run. And now I'm simply leveling up, I believe. From now on, I'll basically be putting points into strength, if I recall correctly, but adaptability should be at 25 or something. So that's basically what you want to do from now. You won't really need much more vitality, and if you want to have an extra attunement slot, that's good as well. Now, the boss I wanted to defeat here is Ornstein, which should be completely optional for you. Instead, you should go to Nashka, but I'm going to do that in a moment, so you can just skip this part. We'll be getting a good shield after this, so it's not entirely useless. Even if you got the 1 million souls, it's not a very risky fight. Simply you probably know how to defeat him. Anyway, if you've done everything just like me, you will have 1,000,001 souls, which is simply amazing. Rest at this bonfire and take the iron mask and well, the iron helm. Is it called a mask? And the tower shield. Although that shield, I believe, has its name wrong. That shouldn't be the tower shield. That should be the shield of glory. But that's another matter. Use your spare branch of Yor to free a straight and buy flame sword from him. And finally we can use pyromancers. Skip all these guys and simply roll through their attacks and get to Nashka. This is one of the occasions where the burst can be useful. I was very afraid of the magic that she uses, and simply I just bought one of these, and that should help you survive, since we don't really have a shield that defends against magic very well. Hide behind that little branch until she comes out, and then it's just a matter of, well, baiting that attack and being as far from her as possible. If she does go underground, remember to step on this little platform, because she can't go through it. And as you can tell, the flame sword is becoming useful very quickly. Do make sure you keep a poison item in your belt slot, because she can poison, well, she will toxic you. Anyway, you should meet Goblin here, and now it's the right time to buy at least 100 of these. I think I bought like 100 and something. But yes, stock a few of these. And he should also give you this great axe, and you can just sell it right back to him, which I thought was really mean, but we would really need that. And don't sell this shield, it's useful. If you're gonna kill this thing, make sure you don't do it from the front or from behind. Just do it from a side and hit it a couple times and back off. If you do it from behind, he can still grab you somehow. It's time to improve both our weapons and our armor. You should have a Twinkling Titanite by now, I believe. And now I just dump points into strength. This was played quite a few patches ago, so now strength scaling should be even better. So all of this will hopefully be even easier for you. Anyway, do not take these guys lightly, and they can hit you and poison you, and anything that can poison you is just dangerous. You can get this soul here, and well, you can use flame sword against these guys if you're willing to use a few herbs to get their uses back, because we'll be needing flame sword later, as you will see. This was unnecessarily close. If that sword there had hit me, but as you can see, I really wanted my revenge, and there's a fire punch. Don't do that, please. Take the item it drops and all the items around it. Make sure you don't battle it alongside that other hollow, because things can get ugly. Make sure you use this cover while you engage with the lone swordsman, and then simply switch to two-handed to deal with this two. Watch out, these guys do a lot of damage. Take the holy water behind this rock and simply do the usual running attack plus R1 to get the 3 titanite chunks on the... Also, it seems like she's not very happy with us proceeding without having killed the 4 main bosses. So, because she doesn't trust us, just slap her fucking shit like I'm gonna do right now. You don't tell me what to do, woman. Anyway, poison these 2 swordsmen. The second one will not activate the golem. That doesn't really matter. You can shoot these guys while they're stone and they'll still take the damage. As you can see, I'm just poisoning them. Sorry. And as soon as you come here and kill a necessary enemy by the golem, instead of fighting the remaining, just come to this area and you will prevent them from spawning in the time it takes for the door to open. Anyway, do buy about 100 of these lighting arrows. They might be useful, and this welted dusk herbs are always nice, so I bought a few too. Now all of these enemies you can simply run through. Be careful not to get sandwiched between these two somehow. And now it's just time to rest at the bonfire and get ready for the Dragon Rider. Try to finish one of these off so that the door opens and you don't get close to the other 2 lest you aggro all 4 of them, because that can get ugly. Get the items here and the twinkling titanite that you can find right here. Also, I consumed a common fruit, but it doesn't seem to help very much. Deal with these guys by simply backstabbing them when you have the chance, and they shouldn't be very troublesome. And as soon as you walk through this arch, just turn back and you should be invaded in a few seconds. It's a little annoying to simply two-handed and mash R1, and her health will eventually be depleted. It takes some time though. This will be the first boss in which our pyromancies will be very useful, but I kind of fucked up, as you will see in a moment. I changed my target right now. Oh no, that's not what happened. I'm having a deja vu here. I just missed the pyromancy, as you saw, but this guy is so weak that it's really worth using a pyromancy on him and then finishing him off with your regular weapon if he's not dead yet. It really is quicker than dealing with the other one. However, do be ready to roll through attacks, because none of the attacks from the other guy will get you if you just keep rolling in between a few attacks. And once the Dragon Rider is alone, it's just really easy. Do be careful, because he has 3 hit combos. Also, I had forgotten to talk to Benhart earlier, so I had to do it now. Don't do that yourself, just be nice to him and talk to him. And that way he should spawn back at Drangleic. And here I'm just upgrading. Also upgrading my hand and leveling up, which is just dumping points into strength by now. I talked to Benhart here, went up the ladder. You can use this as a sniper spot to snipe these guys and just kill 2 of them and finish the last one by the golem, but as you can see, it's not very difficult. Just make sure you kill them quick, and make sure you kill the last guy by the golem, like this. You could probably teleport back now, but I was really interested in the pyromancy that you find ahead, so I simply poisoned these alone knights and got the firestone. And now it was time to teleport back to save us some trouble. There is an S2 shard if you decide to go ahead, so that's not a bad idea. Using the Saint's Hood, even though I have no faith to properly use it, it still gives me an extra cast for all of my pyromancies, so that's what I'll be using from now on. Now, this part I did completely wrong, so please don't do as you're seeing me do right now, and simply equip your mace two-handed and run through this thing, and whenever you see one of these statues with a head, that's an actual enemy. Simply hit it once and you should kill it in one hit, and do it and you should probably get at least 2 or 3 kills, and it will be just 2 or 3 enemies left. Summon Benhart and get to the Looking Glass Knight. It's not a very difficult boss, but it has some nasty combos like that, and sometimes it will just take you off guard with his poking attacks or his jumping. So make sure you heal at the right time, and don't waste a lot of stamina hitting his shield. Try to circle around him and do it at the right time. He's not very susceptible to pyromancies, but I was trying, and as you can see, I also consume a yellow bar for the lightning resistance, but that probably doesn't make a lot of difference. Benhart is actually quite useful, and you can use the pyromancies on the guys that the Looking Glass Knight might spawn instead, because those are really susceptible to it. Otherwise, simply deal with them while Benhart takes the attention of the Looking Glass Knight by doing what you do to most NPCs in this game, simply two-handing the maze and going R1, R1, R1. Anyway, Shrine of Amana. Break this branch, take these items if you want. Watch out with this guy here. And a good tip for this area, if you're not very familiar with where the falls are, or if you play with low what is it called? I don't remember. If you don't play with a very bright screen, you might not see the falls. So if you use a torch, you will see perfectly what's the safe area. So if you end up anywhere in Shrine of Amana, remember to do that. Anyway, aggro these guys one by one with your bow, and if you're gonna take this chest here, remember to kill this guy that is hiding here, and be careful, there's like a fall to your very left. So there's a Twinkling Titanite in that chest, and rest here, and just don't be stupid like I was here. Here I was trying to switch to my spell cards ring +2 mid fight, and everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and look how close I was to dying. Look at my health now. That's how close I was. Anyway, even at situations where things just seem very easy, Shrine of Amana, it can be quite a pain. So just use the the lightning arrows to deal with every enemy here. You'll have to make use of all of your patience, but it really does pay off, because take a risk and you're dead. My mouth is really drying right now. Anyway, you can also poison them, but depending on how upgraded your arrow, your bow is, it should take about the same amount of arrows. Either way. Anyway, these guys run really fast on water, so don't try to outrun them. Try to roll as soon as they try to hit you. It was a very close encounter for me as well, as you can see, and I'm not particularly proud of it. Just aggro them. You cannot aggro these two one by one, but try to bring them to a place where you can use your mace and hit them both at once. Overall, this is a very dangerous area, so you do well to be as careful as you can get. And if you, by any reason, you go back while you're running, make sure that the ogre doesn't start to chase you. It's happened to me, and it's very nasty. And here I'm just using one of my spare pyromancies to deal with these insects, and doing the usual. Oh, look at that backstab. Just poison these, and if you don't walk into the inner circle of this area, you shouldn't spawn the invader. So that's exactly what I didn't do. You will get a clue of where the enemies are by that little glowing little ones, as the singers call it, and kill the remaining singer here, and you're off to battle the Demon of Song. Now this is the last enemy that actually killed me when I was attempting this run, and I was very upset, and since then I made it my point to learn what to do and what not to do. You can use a few arrows to take a chunk of its health and kind of apply your buffs in the meantime while he comes. Now this boss can be very easy if you just follow this advice. stay very far when he comes out and attack when he's going back in. All of these attacks will require you to simply move back or sideways. Whenever he does one of these fancy attacks, he always immediately goes back in, and that's time you can use. But when he comes out like that, if I was close to him right now, he will keep comboing me, and it's really dangerous. He can easily kill you in 2 hits. So simply stay back, and you will trigger his going back inside animation. And that's what you want to do. You want to be back at this point, then maybe get close so that he comes out again, and just keep doing it. See, I'm not in his range, so instead of doing hits like that for an entire minute, he will just go back in, and as soon as he's done, I step in and have time to hit him a few times. Just do it like this. And if you don't know what he's gonna do, simply keep your shield up, because he's got one very unpredictable kind of dash attack when he's inside, and it's very dangerous. Take that soul, lit up this bonfire, tell this guy that it's not okay to bring fire. This area here, I've just found that it's just not even worth it. Just run past it. You can buy Elizabeth's mushrooms from Actane. Also drop down from this ledge and take this soul and fire seed and the what's it called, the Cruciate orb, although we will not be using it. Go through the arch, get the chunk, get the Twinkling Titanite after killing the Lydia wizard dress, I don't know, and we get the Nameless Usurper again, and it's just the usual 200 or ones, stun lock forever. Right before these guys there's 2 enemies, one at the right and then one at the left. They have infinite poise, so if you want to save life gem, just be careful. You can deal with this guy with pyromancies very easily, but apparently if you wait enough, as you can see, they'll just break their formation and come at you. It's also possible to run past them, but I mean they're so easy, and you're gonna rest at the bonfire again, so you might as well use your pyromancies for the soul. As you enter in, you drop straight and go to the left. You should see this item here, which has a soul over here, which is always useful, and you'll be on your way out. Come back, pull the lever and drop in, and also take all of these items before you get to the bonfire again. You can come back now and upgrade all you want. You should probably upgrade your armor and everything you can, really, and I'm just putting more points into strength right now. And I should have enough attunement for 3 spells now. Kill this guy by luring him out a little so that he doesn't hit the bell, and you can really risk it and go through this, but I'd just rather you killed every single thing in this room carefully, so that you have time to buff and sound Actane. His usefulness is questionable, but he does provide a good distraction for the first bit of the fight if he survives. Belstead opens with that kick very often, and it will break your guard, so do be very careful. The good thing about Belstead though is that if you're not in his range, all of his attacks are quite predictable, so he's not gonna take you off guard with a strange jump or anything. So if he attacks, you have you got like very wide windows to heal. Other than that, you should be very careful with the lingering hitboxes. Sometimes he will hit you and the weapon will hit you on the way back. It's very dangerous, and it will just heal full damage as if he had hit you. So do be careful with that, and keep your shield up even when it seems like you shouldn't, and you'll get a good idea. This is one of the that was bad. This is one of the best boss fights that you should really practice on, because it's a boss fight I really can't give you much tips. You just gotta see for yourself. So if you can, practice on this boss with another character until you get a sense of how to dodge his attacks. Goodbye, Actane. Anyway, feel free to use pyromancies during his power up to save stamina and such. And well, it's a dangerous boss. Any boss that can kill you in one hit is dangerous at this point. and he most definitely can when he's buff. So do be careful and use windows like this to heal. You should, unless you're very unlucky, or that's the lingering hitboxes I was talking about. Unless you're really unlucky or very unfortunate, you should have no problem in dealing with this guy. And as always, remember to switch to your ring and your armor. Say hello to Bandrick, pick up the item, and watch the Emerald Herald appear magically. I'm also stocking up on life gems, which you should always do. And I suppose you could get more adaptability than I have right here, but I just went into strength. Anyway, you can run past Aslatiel. Don't hit him while he's spawning like an idiot like I was doing. But you can actually backstun him. I'm not sure if you can do this very efficiently. Anyway, yeah, you can just run past this red phantom if you're quick enough. Other than that, just R1 smash or backstep fishing. Do be careful with the dragon. Get this Elizabeth. Oh, Radiant Life Gem. Elizabeth Mushroom is only New Game Plus, I guess. Yeah, get that Life Gem and simply bait that ogre attack. Run past him. Open this door. Bait the other one. Take this time to take the item and run past him again. You can buff at the very end of this corridor here, so don't feel threatened, since they don't really chase you all the way here. And I'm also consuming a small orange, no, not the orange bar. Oh yeah, it's the orange bar, yeah. For the fire resistance. Anyway, this boss is not very difficult, but those flame attacks can really do a lot of damage if you're caught right below them. Basically, whenever he's on the ground, you just want to focus on one of his legs and be careful with the stomp attacks it does. And there's, I believe there's 3 kind of fly ups he will do. Sometimes he will fly straight up, and then you want to run away, because he will fire right below him. Sometimes he will fly straight to the wall, and in that case you want to chase him because you will be safe below it. And sometimes it will just fly a little bit to the side, but not quite above it, and then you actually want to go below it as well. Anyway, as you've seen, we've got the feather, and we kill the exploding undead with an arrow, as we are doing with this one. We killed the lizard, and I'm just taking no risks and using the bow for these guys. Now, this area can be a little dangerous if you go through the cave, because if the dragon is aggroed, he can actually flame throw you through the rock, and it's nasty. There was one time when he did that and he threw me off the ledge. So take that path and be very careful. All of these dragon keepers drake keepers we will simply poison. It's gonna take some time, but trust me, they can do some damage, and it's worth it in the end. And also feel free to shoot this guy with a few arrows until he's unable to throw spells, because he will like be staggered and step back. At least that was the case for me. Anyway, we'll get back up and destroy him, well, her. So don't fret if he doesn't die, if she doesn't die. That is. Anyway, that didn't quite work for me, I think. Oh, that one did. But you can just poison all of these, and there's always a safe area to do it from. Make sure you don't bring this guy close to the chest, because it's got a twinkling titanite that is going to be useful for us. Once you kill the priestess, you can poison those guys from above, and you can also poison these 2 greatsword users from inside that little corridor. Now this area is just one I just feel is easier to run through, and don't use a consumable. Well, you've got someone chasing you. You can simply run and not aggro this guy like I did. This part is relatively easy, and once you get here, get to the very middle, run, roll if they attack, and roll if this guy attacks. That's my best tip. But I expect you to practice it with another character if necessary, because this can go wrong if you don't do it right. Anyway, get the Ashen Mist hurt, and time to level up again. And now it's off to the giant memories. There's one thing I did wrong in this first part, and that is keeping my eyes to the ground. Instead, just move your camera above and see those exploding cannon whatever coming up from the sky, and you'll be able to dodge them. Anyway, they shouldn't be dealing that much damage though, so that was fine. After you go past that projectile thing, step to the right and you should avoid the rolling giant head. And this fight is dangerous because he's got some very powerful moves, but it's also got a very easy exploit, and you're gonna see me do it now. Simply get up, bait that attack, and you'll have a beautiful amount of time to attack him a couple times. As you can see, blocking does nothing against some of these attacks, so you're better off rolling through them. And as you can see, I'm just baiting again, and it's a little tedious but not very difficult. Eventually he should go down. There's another way of doing this with arrows, and I've tried it both ways, and I feel this is the safer than the other one, unless you really are afraid of engaging him, but you shouldn't be. Take the Twinkling Titanite before you go, and you should be able to upgrade everything you have by now. And now it's off for the vinyl battles. These ones have very little editing, so I'm gonna be a little more relaxed about commentating them. I summoned Benhart because he really does a good job at the first battle, not so much at the second one, but that one doesn't matter that much. And these guys are incredibly weak to fire. And since I've got lots of castings and I've saved all of my herbs throughout the game, during these two boss battles it's basically gonna be a matter of using pyromancies and simply restocking the spell uses with herbs. Try to find the best windows to cast this, and if you simply want to attack them with the mace, that's fine as well. But I felt that this was quicker. Of course, you want to deal with the Fender first, since he's got more HP, and once he's down, dealing with the Watcher will be much easier. I recommend that you use Firestone before Flameswathe, because you've got a good chance of hitting them both, and once one of them is down you want to focus your efforts on the remaining one, and then you can use your mace if you wish. You've got about 20 seconds before the Watcher kind of goes back to his partner to revive him, and if you kept her right above 50% health, she will also buff her weapon. So that's extra time you have, and I have no idea what she was doing at this point. But as you can see, Benhart is tanking like a champion, and it didn't take much effort. Now the final battle after this is going to be absolutely atrocious, and I bet you will be at least as nervous as I was. But simply use your consumables. I was consuming what is it called, the dark torches, just to get dark resist. And these things, there's a more effective way of destroying them. You can simply kind of stand right on them and roll, and that will break them. But I did not know this at the time of this recording. You can use the time that Benhart provides you to spam pyromancies, and after that you can still do it, but it's gonna take some dodging every now and then. Do make sure that you do all of this in a place where there's no curse inducing things like I am doing now, because having your health drained at all times is not a good idea. The Chandra combos up to 3 times like she's doing here, so make sure you time your dodges right. It's also a good fight to practice, but I bet you've killed her 1,000 times by now. And my strategy here was simply to spam pyromancies. Do be careful, lest you fall to your death, because you can just like walk back when you're locked on and not realize that you're walking towards the edge of the area. And well, there's very little else to say, truly. Using the mace is probably just as quick and better practice, but I felt like sticking to my strategy for the time, and this is just really simple. It's just about dodging and using this, which does not a very large amount of damage, but now here I would have probably died if I hadn't rolled away. So that's what you want to do if you face Nishandra or the Old Iron King when they do those. Oh, and look at this, how close that was. That was beautiful. Yes, you kind of want to roll away from those beam attacks. Even if you're right in front of it, you still have like infinite invincibility frames when you get up. And when she does that movement, you know she's gonna spawn these things again. So simply stand away. Oh, nice roll. Stand away and be ready to destroy one or two of them. It shouldn't even matter if you're cursed a couple times, but don't let that happen a lot or you'll be crippled. And here I'm just running out of things to say, really. It's really good to finish this run and be done with this commentary. My my throat by now is as dry as the Sahara desert. Desert. And my cognitive abilities are deteriorating very quickly. Anyway, you know, if you've made it through and this thing helped in any way, shape or form, I would be really happy to hear what you have to say or what you think could be added to this guide to make it even easier. So feel free to post comments and discuss. After the credits, which as you know are unskippable, you will get the screen that you saw at the very beginning of this video, and the illusory ring will be yours. If you really have done this with just one attempt, I'm very happy that my suffering has helped you make this challenge a little easier, since I know that I had to do it quite a few times myself, but that is the best way of learning after all. Well, maybe the best way of learning is just watching a video on YouTube like you're doing right now. But yeah, definitely the second best way of learning is doing it yourself. And we're just taking the throne. And just so you know that I didn't like edit out my deaths or anything, you will see footage of this character using the illusory ring after the credits. And here she is. Beautiful. Anyway, I hope that you find very creative uses for these rings. I got them pretty much after the game came out, like a couple weeks afterwards, and I still haven't done anything with the character that has both of these rings on. I hope you have a good friend that will help you transfer them from one character to another, and if you do take both of them on the same run, I sincerely respect you. Anyway, that was everything. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this was helpful. Goodbye.